personally, I think if a guy asks me on a date that he should pay, like, I don't particularly see why it would even turn into a discussion. And, you know, it's not even a thing about money, really, because a first date can be so many different things. You know, if it's a nice, funny day and, like, he wants to get to know you better, he can pack a picnic. And you go down to the park and just chill, you know. So for me, it's not really about, oh, he's paying. It's not a financial thing. It's he's making an impression, really. And if he doesn't feel necessary to make an impression on the first date, then he's never going to make an impression.
Like, it is like the first impression that you're setting. I think the guy's part of the impression is obviously what they do and like how they act on a date, as just as much as a girl, like the way she like makes an effort with her appearance, for example. So yeah, I think that it's important for a guy to at least offer, like, as a girl, like, even if I'm on a first date, I would always offer to pay for my half, but I wouldn't expect to be asked to pay for my half.
Do you know, it's funny you say that, because I wouldn't offer to pay for my half.
Would you not?
If he's asked me to come out on a date, it's our first date, I don't offer to pay my half, to be honest with you. I might do that on, like, the second or third date. Like, I don't know, maybe the second date I might initiate it, but then I'm thinking I'm going to pay, you know. So I think that might be why I have that attitude for the first date. If you've asked me out, I expect you to pay. I might ask you out on the second date, and then I'm expecting to pay, or, you know, go Dutch. Or even if you ask me out on a second date, then I might offer to go Dutch. But on the first date, no. You ask me, you're paying. If you don't want to pay, don't ask me. It's as simple as that. And it is a thing of about, it's not even just about setting impressions, it's about how thoughtful you are. As I was saying, it's not a financial thing, it could be a picnic. But as Kiri was saying, as a female, you make an effort in how you dress, how you do your hair. For instance, if he's got no money, so he puts together a picnic and he wants to go out, I will still make the effort to put on something nice. I won't turn up in a tracksuit.
I see both points where you guys are coming from. I think that on a first date, if a guy does ask you out, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that. It's not that I would expect him to pay and that I would say he has to, but it would definitely set the pretense as to where it's going if he wasn't to offer to pay. Because I think men, it is nice for a man to actually be a gentleman and offer to pay for your meal and wine and dine you, take you out, you know, even all this opening doors and all the rest of it. Like, I'm not saying it has to be the most expensive restaurant. I am a fussy eater. I don't really like McDonald's and that. So if you said you're going to take me
McDonald's, I hope you could do better than that.
She'll be chatting cottage next.
I wouldn't want to be going there, but obviously it's not necessarily about where we go. If it's your favorite restaurant and, you know, it's not expensive but it's a different environment, then yeah, that's cool. And you should, if you're asking me out, then yeah, I do want you to pay, but I will always go prepared with my own money just in case.
I don't think it's necessarily financial. I think it is just etiquette. I think that's probably what it comes down to. And at the same time, I'm sure there's a lot of people who'll be watching this saying, oh, I thought women want equality and all that stuff. Yes, we do, but let's be honest. I think society, there are a lot of contradictions, and we do like, you know, going back to that old-fashioned age sometimes. It is nice to get someone to wine and dine you or open a door here and there because you think at least they're being thoughtful. You don't necessarily mean you want a caveman.
Depends on the company in the date as well. Like, you know, if we got to the point and he was like, I haven't really got much money or whatever, and we were speaking, I don't know whether I would probably just be like, don't worry about it, it's cool. Would it affect
Actually, yeah, like I agree with you on that, to be honest. Like if you've like talked with someone long enough and like it's not like just like a random day where you've met someone, you've chatted a couple of times and then you meet up or whatever. Like obviously if you've been like building like that kind of relationship with someone first and you're like you get quite close and they want to take you out, for example, but they can't really afford it, and then like they were just open and honest about it and were like, oh, like can we just do this, like because I can't really afford it. Like if you've got that kind of relationship already and you actually care about the person, you know they're not just like being a knob.
If it's a guy and we're just straight platonic friends and it's the first time we're going out, then I will offer to pay for my half, you know, because I'm not really looking into him that deeply, you know. But if it's a thing of like you're chatting me up, you want to be phoning me for pillow talk and all of that, and then you offer, like, you say that, oh, we should go out. Well, seeing as you're so the man, let me see how much of the man you are.
Like I know someone or people who say, you know what, I'm only taking a girl to a certain chicken shop that every single black person tends to frequent. You know, because like there's nothing wrong with that location and they can't expect more than that. And my thought on that is, yeah, okay, fine, yeah, a lot of black people, yeah, we like Nando's, yeah, but you know, Nando's is like the black people's McDonald's. It's like there's one around every corner. It's nothing really special about that. I think, like Cyan said, if you went to, I don't know, Giraffe or something, or even Bella Italia or something, which again is like around every corner, it's not a normal location for people to go, but it's not expensive either, and it just shows you thought out of the box.
You know, when you go on a date, it is because you're interested in the person and possibly it could get into a relationship. So the atmosphere of the place, like going to Nando's is a place where you're probably going to book up on people that you don't want to see when you're on a date anyway. It's not cozy, it hasn't got that setting. I'm not saying you need a quiet corner where you're going to jump on each other, but just to be able to have, like, you know, your little conversation without thinking, oh my gosh, someone's sitting right next to me or whatever. Like, I love Caribbean food, but if a guy a few years back had have said to me, let's go on a date, and we went to Mr. Jerk, I probably would have been like, oh my gosh, because that's where everybody used to go. You know, like, people being there and you're like, damn, sharing a table with somebody and you're on a date. I don't really like Nando's, and I always see this argument come up on the internet about waste man date Nando's. If I loved Nando's and that was my favourite restaurant, I would go there on my first date.
I know, like, even through like talking to friends and stuff like that, like people have been on dates where a guy's been like, oh, like I would never normally do this, like kind of like you should feel lucky that like I'm taking you on a date and I'm paying, kind of thing.
Those kind of guys that do say that, I mean, I think they're trying to let you know in some shape or form, you know, or they're trying to make you feel like, oh wow, you're an exception to the rule, and for some reason they feel you should feel privileged, but really I think you don't. You just think, wow, you're cheapo, and you're not going to put much effort into anything. And I think it comes back to the point I made. Some guys will say, you know what, I'm not spending more than £10, £5 on a girl, because they feel that every girl is out to dig into their pockets. But at the same time as well, I think there's also a type of girl that maybe is even an exception to this rule. And I think it's those high maintenance girls, because for some reason, guys know that certain types of girls, if they're not bringing out £50, they're not going to get the date, and they will get the £50 even if it's the last £50 in their pocket.
I've spoken to guys before, and they've said to me that like they've gone on a date with a girl to a restaurant. I mean, one guy said like Blue Elephant or whatever, and they spent like nearly grands or whatever on this girl, and they actually pissed during the date that this girl's ordering the champagne, ordering all these different things, and you know, and I'm thinking, well, why did you knew that was what you was going to do in the first place? You knew that from your going to that restaurant, and you cut, like, when they're telling you the story, they're saying, I knew this girl was, you know, wasn't going to let me go on a date with her to XYZ, but yet there's probably another girl who would be more deserving of that and appreciate that more. That you didn't actually take out, and she would have been happy even having probably a starter from that menu, the fact that you've taken her to that restaurant. So it's like they waste their time sometimes on these girls that are gold diggers.